I didn't have any friends, so I opened a business so that I could have friends. And then I don't come from a traditional fitness world.
People can have ideas, but execution is hard.
I keep coming back to this over and over and over again. Don't die with your song still in you. At a certain point I was like, if I don't do this, like I will regret this for the rest of my life. Outside of a lot of money, I didn't have a lot to lose.
How are you doing mentally during that phase?
Oh, bad?
Did you ever think about quitting?
I couldn't. Like for me, I'm like, well, I don't want to go back to corporate.
How do you find hope in hopeless situations?
You don't have enough information to be pessimistic.
How do you make decisions?
Sometimes I like feel like Yoda. Like,
How much did you sacrifice for this to become a reality? And how much were you willing to sacrifice?
everything and everything. I had never really put both my feet into something, like ever. You just put it all on the line and you hope for the best. If all things go wrong, at least you could say that you tried.
What's one thing that most people don't know about running a fitness studio?
That it's a lot of work. I'm pretty sure people probably know that. I think that I hear a lot of like, because I'm trying to think of how I want to put this. There's like two different types of business, like when you get into business.
Yeah.
One is like lots of people open a business because they want freedom and opportunity and like financial security, and they want that. The other type of business to open is one that you're super passionate about. So when I opened in 2019, I knew I wanted to open a fitness studio. I wanted to specifically open a spin studio since 2014. Okay. So it had been like a long time in the making. I wanted to open a spin studio before there was even a spin studio in Winnipeg, but I just was really young. And so I didn't do it until I had a more formulated idea of what I wanted to see and had like a little bit more courage to do it. So
why
yeah.
did you open this?
So back in 2013, I was living in Calgary, and there was a whole bunch of spin studios there. So to kind of roll it back even further, are you guys familiar with SoulCycle?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was not a familiar name back in 2014, but I knew, and I thought it would be a fun, cool idea that I could, I wanted to do triathlons and do more sports after university while I was working a full-time job, and my background's in marketing.
Cool.
And so I was working for Tourism Calgary at the time, doing their social media, which was like also brand new. Like social media was like kind of a new thing back then, which makes me sound ancient. But I was fresh out of university and everyone needed a social media girl. So I was like, I got you.
There you go.
So I ended up working for a bunch of brands, and one of them was like Tourism Calgary. So I was living out there, and they had a whole bunch of spin studios, and the model that they were running was SoulCycle, kind of similar to SoulCycle, where the lights were low, like there no lights on, candles and body movements on the bike. And at that time in 2014, it was very weird. Like, so I remember going to my first class that was like that in Calgary. It was like, what the hell is happening? I was like, why are the lights off? I was like, this is unnecessary. But I started working at a studio that did that, and I realized how much I loved it. Like, I was like, okay, I don't want to just be a spin instructor to like get money to buy a bike. I want to do this because I loved it. And the reason why I loved it was I loved the coaches and I loved the people. So I started sort of exchanging for a studio there, becoming a coach there. And there was this one coach there, shout out Mel. She's the best. Yeah. She's in Ottawa now. She was like my little, she would mentor me. Like she would stay late after her classes and teach me how to like teach spin, and I loved it. And I ended up moving back to Winnipeg for work. And I owned a house here, so I decided to move back, and they didn't have a spin studio here, and I ended up waiting until somebody else opened a gym a spin studio, and I ended up working for them for a little bit, and like the desire to do my own thing because I loved the community aspect of the place I was working at in Calgary, the fact that I can connect with the coaches, the fact that I made friends there. Like I was really lonely in Calgary. I didn't have a lot of friends, and so working at this studio, I got to make friends, and it really felt like a true third space. Like I would go to work and then I'd come home after and I'd go straight to the studio and I'd do like 2 spin classes. And they also had like TRX and weights and stuff. And I was like, this is so cool. And I just fell in love with the coaches there and like the community that they had there. But coming back to Winnipeg, I kind of was waiting for somebody else to do that here. Like I didn't have the courage to do it myself, but it became like apparent that didn't exist here. So I created it based off of like that concept that I wanted to create, like a really fun, friendly environment that people wanted to come, not just work out in, but also like hang out and be part of and feel recognized and like part of like an actual space.
And now it's like huge. Like I remember going to New York and like hearing people be like, oh, I'm going to a soul cycle class. And then just having multiple spots all across the world.
Yeah, so well, we could talk about this too. Like, like obviously my background before this was snowboarding. So like I love like snowboarding and skateboarding. And if you knew me like 15 years ago, like that was like my whole world. Yeah. And so that's what I was kind of doing in Calgary, and why I moved there was because it was so close to the mountains, and I really fell in love with it. But I also love biking and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So that's how I ended up getting into this kind of own subculture of like fitness. Like I don't come from a traditional fitness world. Like so when you ask me questions about the gym, like it's funny, it's kind of like tongue in cheek that we're called the gym, because I literally have gone to a normal gym maybe like 5 times in my life. I have like maybe gone to Good Life twice. Like, so I have no experience in like a regular gym, like you would go to like Gold's Gym or like Planet Fitness. Like I have I don't do that.
It's a great place.
Yeah, well, I know no shade. I just have never gone. So I was like, I just ended up doing this, and that's just where I led. And it was very music based, and I loved running to music. Like I had been running to music since I was like in grade 8, like my Discman to really age me. And so like I knew that that's the direction I wanted to go in as soon as I did it. So yeah.
That's literally, you built the community here. Like even the bags say at the end, you've created an environment where people take their health very seriously, but also very fun. And so was that the reason you wanted to start this? It was because you wanted that environment, that family that you built in Calgary, you wanted to bring it to Winnipeg.
Yeah, I mean, I think like we can all agree, like even before the pandemic, like, so this is all like we could talk, I call it before COVID, like after COVID, because like we're in, for me, like 2 completely different worlds. So even before COVID, I recognized, like I'd posted before COVID, like about this loneliness epidemic. Like I had graduated university, and something that's really crazy about Winnipeg that's different from other cities is that lots of people here grow up with the same people, whether it is like their family or their culture or whatever, or the people they went to high school, they don't really leave that. So when you go to another city, you're completely alone. And I experienced that kind of twofold, where like I had grown out of a lot of the friends I had in high school. I went to a very small high school, and then in university I wasn't really hanging out with my friends in university again, and so I was really looking for a group of people that I wanted to hang out with. And so lo and behold, Calgary happened, and I met some people, because everyone in Calgary they're not actually from Calgary. So you end up kind of meeting people through different things, and I was trying to figure out how to meet people and what to do while I was there before I came home. When I came home, I still didn't have that group of friends, and I was like really looking for that. And so I think for me, at its essence, what this place is and why it exists the way that it does is that even though you might not like be talking to somebody, you can recognize people and faces every day when you come in regularly here. Like we have people that come in and take a class, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, because they're crazy. They know who they are. And we recognize them regularly, and like they get to know the coaches, we get to know them, and they get to recognize each other. And there's like different groups of friends that end up forming through the gym, and it's really awesome. It's like what I wanted. I always joke, it's like I didn't have any friends, so I opened a business so that I could have friends. And then everyone tells you not to work with your friends, and you're like, but they become my best friends though. So yeah, so it's kind of, it's this funny thing. So yeah, it's been kind of like evolved to that. So
what is your thought on that? Like, you shouldn't start a business with your friends.
Oh man, it's because it's heartbreaking. Like I think when you get, oh man, I've learned so much in the last 7 years. Like I think like you can really go deep in like business when it comes to this sort of thing. Like I think when you hear that on the surface, you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. But I think I've made like the bestest friends here, and I've also had like heartbreaking situation where I've lost friends, and just lives go in different directions, or you see things differently, or like emotions. There's always emotions, and it always comes down to money, but money is also a representation of something a little bit more. Like like there's more, like when we say money like is a part of it, but it always is, it represents something more than that. And I think that's something that we don't really take into consideration when you're going into business with people. And like that's the hardest part, is always the people. It's the best part, it's the most rewarding part, but it's also the hardest part. And it's the one that you always have to come back to and really work on. Like for me, I'm constantly in the mindset of thinking about people, like how we can make this work and how to like have the right people coaching, have the right people on the team, finding the right customers. Like all of it has to come together like as an ecosystem, as an organism, and keeping those people happy without only serving one person or trying to appeal to everyone is a tricky thing. So like when you try to appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one, but when you only cater to like one person's needs or 2 or 3 people's needs, and it also doesn't work. So you kind of have to find what feels true to you and lead from that.
Is there anything you do strategically to make the people feel more like a team and feel more like a unit?
What's funny, and so I'll talk about this, like I love this. I hired somebody and she's like amazing. She came in and she did Clifton Strength Finder. And so I have it, essentially what it is it's 32 strengths. And it gives you a sequence, like a DNA sequence of what your strengths are. So you work with like your top 5 strengths and they fall into different categories. I am somewhat charismatic. However, I am not a relationship building person, and that's okay. I'm very strategic minded. Like I like to think of like big picture ideas. Cool. And I know those are my strengths. It doesn't mean that I'm not empathetic or anything. It's just that scores a little bit lower.
Sure.
So I have Olivia, who I can hear in the background, like touring people. She scores super high on relationships. And so her and I work really well together because people feel very like warm and welcome to come and talk to her. And like she really works hard on building relationships and making sure that people feel that. So what I'm trying to say is like you're finding other people that offset you. So like my strengths are like thinking about big picture ideas, but I have to be around people that are good at executing and help me execute, help me organize, and also how to communicate with the people around me. So it's just figuring out the right people that help offset you. And it's taken a long time, but like you just have to be aware of those things and hire the right people and surround yourself with them.
I saw you took the trip to Toronto with the team.
Well, that was all Olivia. So I'm gonna give praise where praise is due.
Fair.
So like the relationship builder. So it's like so like that was something that we talked about a long time ago. Like we would take these things called sweat trips.
Okay.
So we would fly. Like I wouldn't say up until like literally this past year, every vacation I've taken, much to like my ex's dismay, has been like to go to like workout. So like to see different fitness classes, to like go to New York. I've been to like LA 2 or 3 times. I've been like to Austin. I've been all over like North America. And I actually went to London, England, which to me was like the place. I was like so excited to go there, to go test out workouts there. So we do these sweat trips where they're strategically planned and you'll do like 7 or 8 classes in a day. And like that's all we enjoy. So I've like done that with Olivia a bazillion times, and that's just what we like to do. So we got to take like the whole business and do that like as a team, and we stayed in like this house that was kind of like Big Brother. It was very funny. It was very fun. It was very cool to team build because we usually do a retreat every November. So we go to like a cabin. But this year we thought instead of like a holiday party and the retreat, we like combined it.
It just looked so fun.
It was really fun.
I was like, I want to be friends with you.
Well, we hope people want to come work with us. That's the point too. Like it's like we want people to come work with us because we have a great time. We have the best time, and I like to also give back, and do that is like super, super rewarding. Like I love to give back as much as I can and like share as much as I can. So to probably a fault a little bit. So
when did you come to the realization of what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are? Because I feel like as you enter business, you think you can do everything. Right?
Well, you have to.
You have to. You have to, right? When you start, it's like you have to be the marketer.
Yeah.
You have to be the people maker, and you have to be the communicator, right? But at what level did you decide, okay, I can't do this by myself, and now I have to bring on a team that, like, they're my 3rd arm or 4th arm, right?
I think it's more like I have knowing your leadership style. Like I don't have a problem delegating. Like I've like built myself up to that. I feel I have a very high trust threshold. Like I trust very easily. So there's some downsides to that. Yeah, like there's some downsides to that, but there's some upsides to that. So I've been burned, but also it's been like very beautiful. Like it's worked out really well where I've had staff that have like people I've worked with and alongside that have like been able to like, I say like take the project, run with it, and then we build the scaffolding around it. Like I have a lot of like trust in people, and my background is marketing, so I feel like I came to the table with that. Like different founders come to the table with different things. Like if you interview different like people like who own businesses, like a lot of them are accountants or like marketers, or sometimes they actually do the thing that they set out to do. Like they were like the welder or whatever, and they hold a welding business. So like you end up kind of falling back on the thing that you know most to also like help build your confidence as you like grow. So like I knew how to build a marketing calendar and a cadence because of like 8 years of doing that. Whereas some people who might be in my type of role owning a different business, like their background is in fitness. So they would fall back on that. So like my first skill was never fitness, it was marketing. And so I always felt really, really comfortable in that like framework. And I think second to that, I'm also very comfortable like giving somebody else those reins. Like you're like, go with it, which most people wouldn't be. Like most people are very, I think I was heavily micromanaged in my past life that I never wanted to do that to anybody. That was like the death of me. Like I know what's important to me. And I think that's also kind of something that's important to figure out when you say strengths and weaknesses. It's like, it's more like, what are your values? So like for me, I know like freedom is a big one, creativity. Like I need to do something that's creative. I need to think about things. Like I can't be put into a box. And so I think as much as I didn't want to open a business because my parents owned a business and that was like a whole thing, I was like, I'll never do that. Like I have the freedom to be able to like, it's not necessarily freedom to do what I want, but mostly to dream what I want, like without anybody putting guardrails on things for me. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm happy now. Like that's why I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
I mean, I was gonna say, you deserve a lot of respect because people can have ideas, but execution is hard. So then how did you come up with the idea of, okay, I know I want this, but now I'm actually gonna go do it?
I think if I like went back in time, I kept asking myself this over COVID. I was like, if I like knew what I knew now, would I still do this? I was like, no, because it was brutal. But what hyped me up to that point was that like I heard this quote and it always stayed with me, and it was like, don't die with your song still in you. And I was like, I keep coming back to this over and over and over again. Like I just keep coming back to this like vision of trying to do, it didn't look like this in my brain, but like something like this, like I had to do it. Like,
what do you mean you keep coming back? Did you like try it once?
No, like just keep like, you know, when you like really want to do something and you're like, nah, I want to, like, you know, like I'm not qualified, or like that'll never work. Like
limiting beliefs.
Yeah, like you'll always come back to that place. Like you just, but then you're like, oh, but I really want to do that. Like, you know, in your heart what you really want to do. And like,
was it the fear of being successful?
God, no. Everyone's like, we're going to open a gym, like, you're in a fitness studio, that'll never make money. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, and of course it wouldn't make money. Like, this is like fun. Like, I'm not like curing cancer here. Like, you know, like I'm not like an oil and gas business. Like, I'm not like a sure shot. So like, if you talk to anyone in business and you say, hey, I want to do this thing, it's like opening a restaurant. Like, everyone's like, don't do that. And you're like everyone I would say, I would be like, oh, I really want to open a spin studio. They'd be like, oh, you should open a marketing agency. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I was like, that's so hard. I was like, have you ever worked with creatives?
But you'd rather go brick and mortar.
Yeah, and do that. Like, but that's because that was my passion. Like, I just knew. I was like, so at a certain point, I was like, if I don't do this, like, I will regret this for the rest of my life. So, and I didn't really have, outside of a lot of money, I didn't have a lot to lose. I was like, what do I have to lose here? Like, you know what I mean? So.
What was the first step that you took?
So I didn't have a space, and I knew I needed equipment. I knew that at that point I was like, okay, I have a concept. I knew I was going to be called the community. I knew what our classes were going to be called. I knew what types of classes we were going to do. And I had taught spin before, so I knew that I could start with spin and call it cycle and then come up with the iterations of the other classes after the fact. But the bikes are really expensive. So the Stages bikes that everyone uses in studios are probably like $2,000 to $3,000, like now. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, treadmills are 15 grand, like really the good ones. But anyway, I know. So it's not cheap. Like that's why people are like, don't open a gym.
How much are these?
I stuffed them myself. So with bodies. No. All the employees that did me dirty. No. With like old cloth. Like I went and bought like old rags.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could stuff them, to be honest.
Well, so here's the thing. Like at the time, man, I like feel like I broke a lot of like barriers because I was like, I can just manufacture everything. Like I knew Alibaba. I was like, I can just pretty much manufacture anything. So I got these manufactured in China. And I got them shipped, but I didn't want to have them stuffed there because it would cost way more to ship them. So I was like, if you could just ship them, and I started like Googling. You can learn anything on the internet.
Yeah.
So I was like,
ChatGPT
ChatGPT didn't exist.
Right.
I had to use YouTube.
actually had to use Google.
I had to be like, what is this?
Yeah.
And so I was researching like all these guys who would like open things up and be like, what's in it? Yeah. So like I was like, what's in it? And it's just old cloth. So I was like, it's shredded cloth.
Channel that like.
It was. That's how I found that. So I was like, what's inside? Yeah. So what's inside is just old, like not dirty, but like I went and found like where to source like old dish like rags for for places, and then I took like a stick with.
You did this yourself?
Like, yeah. Well, I had some help. My shout out to my ex.
Shout out to the ex.
Yeah. And my family were all stuffing bags.
Just like in your living room or like?
Yeah, in my garage.
That's
yeah.
so fun.
Yeah, and then before we had a space, and so we did pop-ups. So we did pop-ups at the Forks. I had these, actually the bikes are from Austin, Texas, because I sourced, what I was trying to get at was like the bikes are super expensive. So I was like, if I can find them used somewhere, I'm gonna buy used bikes because that'll be better. So I found a studio that went out of business in Austin, Texas. So I flew down to Austin, like checked out these bikes because like the world in the States is completely different than Canada, just as an FYI. So like that's a whole eye-opening experience. So I like checked all the VIN numbers, hired a lawyer, made sure there was no liens against them, and then brought them up to Canada with buys and transport, and then stored them, unloaded them individually. I bought 31 bikes.
Before you had a space or what?
Yeah, before. And because I was going to like put them in shipping containers and then either do classes in shipping containers or like I had like a bunch of ideas I wanted to do. Wow. But I was like, if I just find pop-up space. Yeah. So at that point, like no one was really doing pop-ups. And I was like, I can totally just do pop-ups until we're ready. And so I did a pop-up, and like the cool thing about Winnipeg is that everyone kind of knows everybody. And so like social media does that, but I think with Winnipeg and social media, it's like kind of something special. So shout out to Lindsay Summers. She was a little private coach upstairs that did small group training in this building. And she's like, hey, if you need a space, because if it's raining or whatever, you can come check mine out. So I came to this building, and this space was for rent. And I negotiated with the landlord here, which was crazy. And yeah, just hired old general contractor, and I basically general contracted the whole thing and built it out, and it was crazy. So yeah, that was in 2019.
That's huge.
Yeah, so it just started that way, and yeah, the steel beams are the story of the story. So we put in these steel beams, and I hired a
engineer.
No, well, I hired an engineer. I had to have an engineer, and the funny story about the engineer and the beams, man, I shouldn't be saying these stories.
No, let's say it, because I'll let you know.
It's how you start. And so I hired this guy who put in these steel beams, and I said, I have a 10 grand budget. Like I can only do the steel for 10 grand. I can only put them in for 10 grand.
Hard budget.
Yeah. And yeah, he gave me a bill at the end that was 18,000, and I was like, because that was like towards the end of the project, and I only had so much money. Like you only have so much money like to build out. Like it's not like you can just magically get more from the bank. It doesn't work like that. So I was like, I don't know what you want me to do, man. And so he was like, well, I'm gonna come and take these beams. And I was like, And he's like, and I know where you live. And I was like, ah. So I was like running in
some
the
free classes.
bathroom crying. I was like, I'm going to die. Like, this man's going to kill me. I was like, but I had no more money. And my mom would be like, you hold the money. You can't just like give people money. You hold the money. So I remember I have like a hard, maybe we have to have a boss conversation to like, imagine my mom being like, you hold the money. So yeah, crazy.
So you just offered him free classes and then.
No, he threatened my life, so
shit.
no.
Never mind. Oh, I'm so sorry.
He's fine. It's fine. It worked out okay.
Sorry, you had to go
I
through
paid
that.
him what I could, and
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
that. Like I was like, I can only pay you what I can pay you. Like if you go over, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't see that though. They come in now and they're like, oh, this is a cool spot. This is a cool thing. Everything's like showed up here.
Yeah.
But they don't see the stuff
The
in the
real
thing.
stories
the actual
behind things. Well, and so the cool things about these, like this pulley system, I created with old Italian men. I like worked my network, and I was like, I need to find a welder that could do intricate things. Like, and so somebody referenced me to this man, and he was 89 at the time, working in his like shop, and I was like, hey, I have to make this component that can like, I kind of pitched it in a way that was like a meat packing plant, like you can slide, but it would hold it in place.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to figure out, and he came up with this concept with me, and we manufactured it.
So-
And then his son came in and installed them for us. And so yeah, that's how we have these really cool pulley systems.
Wow.
Yeah.
They are
You're
cool.
blowing away my mind right now. So with
Well,
the structural components to this, because I'm a structural engineer.
oh, well, the structural engineer came in. I had him like review it, and then at the end, he's like, "You didn't pass." And I was like, "This is like the final thing before I could like get my occupancy and all that stuff." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Just kidding." And I was like, "Oh my god!" After everything that happened, I was like, "Not funny." I was like, "Engineers, you guys are not jokers."
Sorry, we're not joking.
No.
But where I was getting at is, you seem like such a go-getter. And where does this come from? Were you always like this as a child? Like, what
No.
were the values that you carried from your childhood into your adulthood?
I was really scared and timid. Like I remember being really shy and really self-conscious, and I think my parents were that way. So then that's where I got it from. I think oftentimes we look to our parents and are like, that's so I thought my dad was like the greatest guy in the world, but he was also like super like self-conscious too. Like he was very honest about that. And so I was very self-conscious and worried and like very anxious. And it wasn't until like I went to a really small high school, and around like the later years in high school, I decided I wanted to do everything. I went to a really small school, so I was like, in grade 12, I was like head of leadership. I was playing for the basketball team. I was playing for the soccer team. I was like like volunteering for like track and field because I wasn't very good. And like I was just kind of doing everything, and I really just loved that. I was like, okay, this is who I am. This is what I like doing. I like doing kind of a whole bunch of things and just like not really being a master of one, and just like really enjoyed doing a whole bunch of different stuff. So I feel like I learned that in my like later teens was like where I felt like the most comfortable and just really enthusiastic, and still bringing that type of like attitude to like whatever I do. It's just like a lot of enthusiasm and positivity. And so I think that kind of started more like later in high school, and I like didn't do well in university. But I was like, okay, I just need to find, but like really, well, it's hard being a try-hard. Like when you're a try-hard and you're actually not that smart, like that's embarrassing.
You want to do everything.
Like, yeah, it's
fair.
embarrassing. I was like, so in my first year of university, I'm like, this is so embarrassing. How can I be failing? I'm trying so hard. I was like, this is the worst. So like I went back to the drawing board and like got into like creative communications and like did my degree with like Red River and U of W, and I went to a smaller class size, and it was better, and I had like an actual rapport with my teachers because obviously I wasn't that smart. So yeah,
The community part.
yeah, exactly. So
I think we could relate heavily because we did the exact same thing in grade 12 as well.
Yeah.
Of like, this is our last year.
Yeah.
We're going to make it. We went to a
Yeah.
much bigger school, like 400 people in our graduating class. Kind of
wow,
vibes.
well that was bigger than my whole high school.
Yeah.
So. What high school did you guys go to?
Dakota.
Oh, what year did you guys graduate?
2018.
Oh my God, you're so young. I am now. I was like, my first boyfriend went to Dakota, and I want to be like, oh, what year did he graduate? I was like, 2007.
Oh, yeah. No, he'd be on the wall.
He is on the wall.
Just
I was like, and I always laugh about St. Vital. You guys like never like leave,
No, absolutely
go over
not.
the bridge. You guys just like date each other, hang out with each other. I'm like, you guys can like, you know, cross
Not literally,
the
but
bridge.
yeah.
Not each other, but like within St. Patel. I was like, you guys just like hang out with it. There's like, don't even go to St. Boniface. Like, you just
No
stay
shot.
there.
Yeah, no shot. Why would we do
Yeah.
that?
Well, I grew up in St. Norbert.
Okay.
So we would cross we would literally cross the river, like over the floodway gates.
Yeah.
Because that's where I lived on that
spot.
side. And then I would go visit my friend. And then one time we had a party and like everyone from St. Patel was there. And I was like, you guys won't even actually come across the river. I was like, you'll go down St. Mary's, but you won't
Way
cross
too
the
much
river.
work. It's way too much work.
No.
It's way too much work. But I think you can relate to we can relate to the idea that we wanted to do something in our final year. And now that I think back on it, I think it was just because it was our final year. Like, I was like, this is it. Like, we have nothing else left. And there's this very interesting phenomenon, like, you make friends with people you hated in high school in the last 2 months of high school.
Yeah. Well, I think, have you heard of this theory is like, have you ever quit a job?
I have.
Yeah. And you know, like that's like the most fun, the last like 2 weeks at your job. You're like, this is the best. It's because like you have something else lined up. And like the kind of concept that I've heard of is like if you could take that feeling, because nothing's changed. Like you're doing the same job, just your mindset's changed because you know that like you're not gonna be there forever. So if you like take that concept and you apply it to like what you're doing, like it makes life so much better. It's harder to do than it is.
Like no fucks given type.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Like it's like
Senioritis,
just like if you think about it, you could like backwards engineer that feeling, like in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Because like we don't have those like starts and stops. Like, and I think you guys are younger, but like I think millennials, I think that's why we've had so many jobs is because of that feeling. Like you end up feeling stuck or like whatever. You're like, okay, well I'll just go to the next job. I mean, that was my scenario for a long time. I had a lot of jobs before, like careers before I like started this. So
Do you do anything intentionally to build community here?
I would say that like it's part of our culture. Like we're very intentional with our values here. We just like redid a values exercise, and like we actually integrated fun into like our values. And don't quote me on this. I wish I had them because we just like kind of reiterated them. They were a little bit more of an alliteration before, but now they're a little bit more true. But I think like having all the staff understand that, all the coaches understand that and understand our culture, I think that helps a lot be able to like in turn create that environment. And like lots of stuff is unspoken. So like things about like for us, like being downtown, like not only opening a gym is hard and like a fitness studio is difficult, but deciding to put it downtown, like if people weren't already telling me to do that, like then, and then I said, I was like, I'm gonna put it downtown. They're like, are you crazy? Like also it's like the hardest place to park in the city and most expensive.
Yeah.
And it's in a place where everyone drives and no one wants to come down here. But I'm like, whenever I'm feeling, I had a business coach that was helping me and he's like, Amie, you put a gym next to the White Pine. And I was like, I did do that. Like meaning like you could do anything. Like, so I think that's a, like that in and of itself, people recognize that. They recognize that it's like, that's a really hard thing to do. They recognize that we want to be part of a bigger picture. Like I know that's what eventually attracted Olivia here was like back in the day was that like the pitch I had to her was like, you know, and I knew this from coming from Calgary and coming from different cities, like, and they'll say this, like the Exchange District Biz says this, like people who represent downtown in Winnipeg, if you have a healthy core in a city, you're gonna have a healthy city. If you don't have a healthy downtown, you're not gonna have a healthy city. So I think it's just for the greater goodness of our city to try to create things down here, to live down here. Like I live very close to here, so my commute to work is walking, and my life is exponentially better. I don't think people realize how much driving like destroys your soul. So I think like even those types of little things, like decisions we can make in our lives to change stuff is like pretty impactful.
How do you articulate your values?
I think, well, we are very good here. Part of like our culture here is that usually once a year at our staff retreat, we went away to Toronto this time, so we didn't do it this year, but we like go over our own personal values. So like mine have been like the same too since I've been like 25, which is like creativity and connection. So like everything that I do, I try to make as like creativity is, I kind of think of like if I have a hard decision to make in life, I'm like, okay, well, do I get to be creative in what I'm doing, and am I able to connect with people? Because those are the things that like bring me fire and like joy and happiness and like that feeling of being alive. I had a great meeting with somebody a couple days ago for coffee, and he was helping like brainstorm growth in the business, and I just felt like completely energized after that conversation. And so I think like seeing what energizes you and being intentional with what energizes you, and being intentional with what takes away from that like excitement is important. Like, so if you like sitting there and organizing your spreadsheets, like,
I love how
go
she stares
for
at
it.
me.
Do more of that. Do more of that. But if you like dread having conversations with people, do less of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love talking to people. Like, I love talking to people. And I would say I felt bad all the time a few years ago when, like, to my therapist, I'd be like, I feel really bad, like, when I'm here late talking to, like, customers and, like, not working or whatever. And she was like, why? Like, ask me why. It's part of the role. It's part of the job. It's just, like, getting to know people and, like, talking to people. And, I'm not all the time. I'm not a freak, but like I do find it like very.
I mean, we do it for a living.
Yeah,
So,
fulfilling. I don't know how I don't have a podcast, to be honest with you, but like, I love it. So.
I've been reflecting because we're approaching our 200th episode, and so like we've been doing this for like 4 years, and I'm like, what are like why do we do this? Like what we ask people all the time, like why do you do this? But like I don't think we can explain it ourselves, and I think it's just something innate of like. This is the thing that we've chosen, just like you've chosen this world of fitness and the world of community. And my two words came down to growth and impact, of having something going forward and leaving an impact in the world. My question is, how many people told you no?
I think it's not so much the number of people, it's the quality of people that tell you no. And what I mean by that is like, what are their qualifications? And so, I went and talked to like the smartest people I know, and no one actually, like those people won't tell you no, but they'll be like, here's what you're up against.
Gotcha.
And so like you'll have to like look at the whole thing, and like those people are great because, and the ones that really care, because they want you to learn. They want you to really like understand what you're about to go do. And it is a big learning curve when you're opening a business, and it is a big learning curve when you're running everything. And so they want to help get you there. And so that is kind of what I think when you're looking for people like in your circle, and when you're trying to do something, like that's always been my motive, is that whenever I have something to troubleshoot, like in my life, whether I'm opening a business or whether I'm making a decision, like I think I'm like, okay, well, who's been through this before? Who's done this? And just go like book a meeting with them. Also, like people love talking about themselves, so like, and their experience, and they're like super flattered for the most part. So like reach out to people and like ask them, because that's what I've done. That's how I've gotten jobs prior to this. Like one time I called a mentor of mine, and she's like, call the owner of the ad agency and ask for a job. And I was like, seriously? She's like, yeah, he'd love that. And I was like, so I called him. I was like, hey, I live in Calgary and I want to move home to Winnipeg. I was like, can I have a job? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, amazing. Yeah, like it worked. I was like, I still had to be interviewed, but like.
Well, most people don't take that step.
No.
They send their resume, send email, didn't get a response. Oh,
like,
too bad.
And you learn so much from that too, like just talking to people. And I think it's like the best way, because you're going to gain so much knowledge. Like there's always someone smarter than you, or there's always somebody who's been through what it is that you're about to go through. And so it's like, it never hurts to like reach out and like talk to different people, not just like in business, but also in life. Like if you're about to like, I don't know, like dating somebody or like whatever, I don't know. Like it's just, there's always gonna be somebody that's experienced.
Okay, but hear me out. Some people, especially when we're talking about dating, the best dating advice I've received is from single people.
You're asking the wrong person. I wouldn't. Don't interview me for dating advice.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I feel like we don't. Like, there's tons of that stuff online, and I think that like the best advice I could give to anyone, and I knew this like a few years ago, is like find the best therapist that works for you. Like, go on a journey and find somebody. Like, spend the money and be like, okay, what's clicking with me? And because not every therapist is the best bit. To find, like, if you're in business, like, find a really good business coach that's going to help guide you, and like someone that you can call and ask questions. So those are like just good people, and they'll help guide you in that direction, because they'll learn about you and like be able to help you get over your things.
So after you started stuffing these, and then you started, you got the 12, or how many bikes did you have? 31 bikes. What was it like when you found this place, got this place, everything set up, signed the lease, ready to open?
Well, you guys are too young, so, well, maybe you're married, I don't know. I've never been married, but I'd imagine, like, basically what it was like you're planning your wedding day, which is grand opening. And so you're like crazy, like doing all this stuff. And
dreaming about it.
Yeah, like you're working, and you're making sure like everything has to, like, I'm project managing, so like everything has to fall in line. Can't do the floors till the beams are in. And I was like, the beams have to be in, and then once that's done, I have to find the floor guys. But I have to line the floor guys up because I want to open after May long weekend. And so like if I don't make that date, and then I'm now doing the floors, but in Tell Parlor, and now their customers are like, we can't work here, it smells too bad. And I'm like, oh my God. So like all of that's happening, like you're trying to like put it all together, and then finally you have your grand opening. And then once you have grand opening, you're like, oh, now I have to run this. So like that's like a whole other thing. So then now you have to put in all the procedures, and like we were kind of working on them before we opened. So like with the pop-ups, it gave us also time to like run teacher trainings, and something that I thought that was something, I took a look at what other fitness studios were doing because I had the time leading up to it, and I was like, how can we do this better? So like one of it was that I wanted to offer more than one class, but most places that went out of business, example, the place that I got the bikes from, they had a really big blueprint. Like, so that's a lot of money to pay in a lease. And so that's a really big risk, and you're kind of opening assuming that you're going to be able to put that many butts in seats, and if you can't, then you're running a really big deficit every single month until you can. And so that's a big risk coming into it. So if you could start with a smaller blueprint, have the rooms be convertible, then that would be the secret sauce to like try to like see what people liked, what they didn't like, and then also like introduce different classes as we grew. So that was the concept. Second to that was that we did these pop-ups, that way I can launch the brand early, like before I found a space. And then once those pop-ups like kind of gained a little bit of momentum, like sometimes we teach to like 5 people, and we were at the Forks in like the old Muddy Waters restaurant, and it smelled like chicken wings. Like, so obviously it wasn't like the desirable location, but like we at least got to build the brand, and we still have coaches from that era of us training like 7 years ago. So
training 5 people?
Well, we did 2 teacher trainings. So I think we ended up training we created all the programming. So we had to make sure, like, something that I was really, really big on was that we were all doing the same programming. So not the exact same class, but we had like a scaffolding that we would train the coaches with, and that they would be able to like build their own programs with, so that the customer would have a consistent experience from class to class. And so we're still big on that. So we have somebody that oversees all of that and make sure that like everyone is kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that like they're executing like the same product, like so that you're not going to like my class and I'm doing like, okay, we're gonna like box on the bag, not to the beat, and then run like 2 laps around the gym. Like that's not gonna happen. Like you're gonna get like the same sort of scaffolding in every single class, and like for consistency, that was really important, and we knew that before opening. So like training our coaches was like a big deal. And then like launching the Sweat Exchange, we had to like find all the people to get that done, and then like train all of them, oversee them, plus all like the maintenance and supplies. So I started like scaffolding out like what the business kind of like looked like. So like operations, and then you had to do marketing on top of all of that. And so it was just kind of also like trying to fill those pieces of it as we went. And again, like something that I came back to, like operations or accounting might not have been my thing, but I did it, and I could always fall back on the fact that I could do like marketing. I knew how to do really good email marketing. I knew how to do social media. I knew how to like what I wanted to look and feel like online. So yeah.
When did the idea of Sweat Equity come about? Like, how did that?
Well, so I didn't invent that. So that I would say like Moto is a big like shout out to Moto Yoga. Like they were really successful in Winnipeg. Like, and I'm like clearly doing something right. They've been in business for over 16 years. So when we first opened, I was looking at what they were doing that I liked. Like I was looking at what like what worked for them, what didn't work for them, and what we could implement. And so they have that karma exchange.
Right.
And I really liked that. And I actually did that years previous, like with them. So I was like, that's what we want to do. It's not easy, like to run and manage, and we tweak it for what works for us. And so if you do want to become a sweat exchanger here, it's like it's a 4-month contract. And so you end up working the same shift for 4 months. But once that's done, you can decide whether or not you want to renew for another season or not. Cool. So that way you don't have to be like stuck in it forever. And so like just recognizing things like that people do want that general, like they'll last longer if they know that deadline, right? So like if, like it's just kind of like learning those types of things as we went. And then kind of same with like class scheduling. We didn't want certain coaches to have like certain time slots forever, because like as much as it's hard on the coach, it's good for customers and all of us to switch things up once in a while, so that way, you know, like different things, we can try out different things and see what works, and just like have a little bit more variety.
Do you encourage that iterative process of trial and error?
Oh yeah, my team knows that. Like sometimes, like to a fault, I'll be like, "Let's just throw spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks," and they'll be like, "Oh." Like
it's
so,
working.
yeah, like so. But I mean, you have to have like some follow up with that.
Yeah.
So like that's something again, like that I recognized is that like I have somebody on the team that's like I have great team members that really offset a lot of like what I do. Like I have a lot of like throw the spaghetti. Like I always tell them like I would do like a ton of like marketing events, and they're like they have to be like pump the brakes. So but I don't think we do a lot for how small we are. Like we're a small team, but we do a lot. So I think it's just like also trying to take like every opportunity that you have, and but making sure that you're doing it to the best of your abilities, so that we're offering a product that like we want to stand behind.
Yeah. Do you have a story from this place in the first couple of years before COVID when you guys opened that stands out to you, positive or negative?
Oh man, it was so good pre-COVID. It was so good. Like when we first opened, so kind of like to come back to it, now I can teach like 3 classes in a day. Like it's no problem. I can teach 4. I can just like do this. Like my body and my voice and like has adapted. Yeah. But at the time it had not. So I had 3 classes scheduled when we first opened, like one of the first couple days, and I went home and I just like sat in my bathtub and cried, because I was like, I don't think I can physically, mentally, and spiritually do this every day. Yeah. Like, because we just didn't have enough coaches, and like we didn't have enough people, and it was just like that first like year. I look back on it and I am truly traumatized, because like opening the business, you're like, I felt like I had to make everyone happy, or I'd lose customers, or I'd lose employees, and I'd be like, please, 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 please. Like it was like this air of desperation almost, where you're like, please don't go, please, I'll do whatever you want. Like, but it's like, you can't, it's not gonna work. So you're like that for so long, because you're just trying to be like, oh my God, if somebody writes one bad thing on Reddit, I'm fucked. So like you have to like, and they did. Someone was like, this is a bad boxing class. And I was like, well, it's not a normal boxing class. Like, it's not like what you're going to get. Yeah, it's not, it's fun. It's like you're putting on gloves, you're hitting the bags to the beat of the music, the lights are off. Like, it's not going to be what you're going to get anywhere else. So,
it's
like,
shadow boxing.
Yeah. Like, it's not even going to be like what you get at Good Life. It's completely different. So, like, it's not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. But it's like trusting that, like, the people will come. And when you start a business and you get all these operations going, it's momentum. Like you're literally taking something and you're picking it up and you're giving it momentum. And so when COVID happened, like I remember exactly the day where we decided to close like early, because everyone was like messaging me. It was like COVID 1.0. And I remember one of the sweat exchangers, he was like pissed like that we were open. Like, and I was like, I don't know, like I don't know anything, like I don't know what's happening. And so I decided to like close, because my coaches were like, well, we're not gonna come in. And I'm like, I can't just be this sweaty, I can't do this all myself. Like I can't, like I need people. And so I just, I went to the back room, and I've a lot of crying in the back room. In the early days, like I just broke into tears, and I called one of our videographers at the time. He's so successful, like shout out to Reed. He owns Copilot. If you need to interview somebody, like Reed's awesome. Yeah. So I called Reed, and I was like, I don't even know why I called Reed actually at the time. Like he helped me out quite a bit with some of the marketing, and I was like, he's like, it's okay. And then I called my mom, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And Reed came in, and like shot a video, which is kind of like our first PSA, which was like, I am deciding to close the gym. And like that was a big deal at the time. And we thought we were going to be closed for like 2 weeks. And so me and Alex, who still actually works here still to this day, Alex has also seen me cry a lot. I had to like move lockers and like I was crying like, and then like I was like closed and I was crying. And so he's like, I'll help you. Like we can order a U-Haul and we can rent out all the bikes. So him and I like found our bikes. We found a whole bunch of bikes from everywhere else and we like rented them out to like people in the city and like spent a day like loading up these bikes in a U-Haul and then like transporting them and carrying them into people's basements. So I would say that like I say that with like tongue in cheek because I was like, that was a big deal. But we did that like 800 more times, like me and Olivia. We'd be like, hey, can we borrow your truck? Because we need to like take some bikes. Yeah. So like, because we would start and stop for like 2 years straight. So it was like, it was hell. Like it was absolute hell.
How quickly did you come up with that idea? Sorry. How quickly of like, we're going to rent out the bikes?
Well, what's interesting about that, like I probably within the first week, like I was like, hey, we can rent out equipment. Like we could do online classes. Like, let's figure this out. And like, I had somebody at the time that I knew through Reed who was helping me and he was great. So he helped me out quite a bit. And like, we had like a strong team of like tech people that like helped us do this. And so like one of our first like Instagram lives, I think we had like 500 people streaming it, which is crazy to think about. So yeah, but I mean, you're doing it all volunteer because no one's paying for anything. So like just kind of like holding things together. And I would just be like, okay, it'll come back. It'll come back. I always think of things like it's a pendulum. I was like, if it has to swing heavily this way, it's going to eventually come back this way. So I just kept trusting that like Peloton was going to like fall. I was like, Peloton will be like old news in a few years. So I just like had to believe and like stick to my like guns while trying to like compete with Peloton. So
how are you doing mentally during that phase?
Oh, bad.
Yeah.
Like, well, and what's interesting that you learn about yourself is that like I do so well in a crisis. And I think this might be like my PR training because I did PR training in school. Shout out to Melanie. All the great people in my life are named Mel, apparently. I'm a teacher in Cree-Com. I think she like runs Cree-Com now. But she was awesome. And I think like when you're in crisis and you have to like think fast, like there's no greater high and you're like, just go. But it's the period after like that is completely brutal when like no one's calling anymore or no one's checking in or like everyone's like now sunken into this. Like that's kind of the hard part when things are like really, really, really hard and you're going and like the adrenaline is high, but it's like that after that's like really difficult. So
what did that feel like for you?
It felt really bad. Like it was not great. Like it was hard. And I would say that like that was like off and on like throughout 2 years. And it's also like hard because like it's easy to feel sorry for yourself, but like also everyone's going through a hard time. Like no one was having a good time. Like my heart ached. Like I was having a shitty time, but like I kept coming back to it. I was like, because what were you guys? Were you guys in university during the pandemic?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Second year. Yeah. Everything went on Zoom.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for you guys.
I had a blast.
Well, I mean, maybe, but I was like, like high school.
Yeah.
Like
I missed that part.
Yeah, you're lucky. High school, I kept thinking like high school students. I was like, and I kept thinking, I was like, this is gonna like, I kept being like, this is gonna be in textbooks. I was like, this is gonna fuck everything up. I was like, things are gonna be fucked up. Like World War II fucked up. Like
even early development of like children who went to like kindergarten and you
100%. And I was like, so I kept, and that would overwhelm me. So I had to be like, okay, I kept coming back to, I'm like, what can I have influence over? What can I have influence over? Because everything just felt so big. Like it was like just so awful. And so I was like, what do I have influence over? I was like, okay, I can just try to make as many people happy from home as I can. And like, just try to be open and ready to go for when people are like ready to come back. And so there's no worse place for me, and this is what I know, than like at the starting line. Like I was like, I need to go, like I need to run, like I need to go, I need to do something. So yeah, so that was really hard. And yeah, and it's hard on relationships. It's hard on like relationships. It was hard on relationships in this business. It was yeah, like it hard on, like I'd worked with somebody for a long time and it like that all fell apart. And like eventually, like after the pandemic, my marriage fell apart. Like it was crazy, like it was awful. And so like, yeah, like you come through this hard period, but then you look back on it. Like I look back on the last 2 to 3 years we've had here, specifically 3 years, they've been really, really good. And I knew that pendulum would swing in the other way. It was painful, but we got there. And like, I knew that people would want to come back and have in-person experiences.
Did you ever think about quitting?
Oh yeah. Like I couldn't, cause like for me, I'm like, well, I don't want to go back to corporate. And I have like, this is still here. Like who's gonna buy it?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Or like, who's gonna, like if I sell it, who's gonna buy it? And I also knew, I just kept saying like over and over, I'm like, it will be okay. Like it will be okay. It will be fine. We will open up. It will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have that belief when you don't see that final result? You don't see that light at the end of the tunnel, especially during that dark time? Was saying, I'm going to be okay enough?
I think that's like my like superpower. Like I always joke that I'm a very positive person. Like obviously I'm not like Ted Lasso level, and even if you watch Ted Lasso, like he's still not like, he still has his shit he deals with. Like that's the point. But I think as long as you do have hope, like that's what I learned. As long as you do have hope, you're golden. Like you're good. Because if you don't have hope, that's where like things start to like you start to like lose. And so I just kept coming back to like being hopeful that it wouldn't be forever, that this wasn't gonna be, and that things were gonna change, but they were gonna change for the better. Like that they could potentially change for the better, and that we'd have like a better situation or a different situation than what it was. So
how do you find hope in hopeless situations?
I mean, people, like, I think you talk to people, like, helps. Like, shout out to Kelsey. She, like, kept coming to the gyms in my heart. She's, like, who the community's for. She's been coming for a long time. She's, like, been our OG, still has our OG membership pricing from when we opened. And so, like, she's the best. And so I would, like, she would come to, like, our outdoor workouts when we were there. And I would say something inspirational, and then she would remind me, like, the inspirational thing I would say. Like, you know, I can't remember what the quote was right now, but something to the effect of like, oh, and she would remind me, like, you don't have enough information to be pessimistic. Yeah. We don't have enough information to be pessimistic. We don't. And so, like, she would remind me when I would feel low. And, like, I think just coming back to those types of things, and, like, I listened to a lot of, like, Wayne Dyer, like, those types of stuff. Like, even before I opened the gym, I had a really terrible job, and I hated it, and people were really mean to me. And that sounds so frivolous, but when you're working in an environment where people are not the kindest, it's difficult. And so I would come back and I would, like, listen to these, like, audiobooks and, like, different, like, inspirational messaging on YouTube, and it would make me feel better. So, like, just, you have to come back to this, like, belief system that, yeah, like, those types of quotes, like, that you don't have enough information to be pessimistic, and, like, surrounding yourself with people that, like, also influence you that way.
That's it. What was it like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel when you knew, okay, it's going to come back, we're going to do that, I have all of these ideas that I've been sitting on, I'm ready to run? Well,
the thing was, I expected a parade, and there was no parade. Like, I expected, like, I was like, when we opened up, I was like, I expected people on the streets, and there's a parade, and we're, like, going, and instead, everyone got divorced or married. So, like, that was, like, instead of, like, the parade, that's what happened. So,
lines for the altar.
And we all got invited to weddings, and I was like, cool.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think, like, yeah, humanity did a weird thing, but I was expecting, like, yeah, this big, huge, like, yeah, like, we're back. But it wasn't like that, because it was, like, slowly, incrementally, and I think people were just so fatigued at that time. But I think, and also we came back, and you guys showed up, like Gen Z showed up, like we didn't really have Gen Z. You guys were still like little guys, like yeah, you guys were still like doing university and stuff. So like now we have like we had a whole new group of like people like that we could.
Are we Gen Z? Is that what we are?
The cutoff is 1999, I believe.
97.
97?
Really?
Maybe 99.
We're 00.
Okay, well then yeah, you're for sure Gen Z. That's like hard Gen Z. If
I don't know.
if you were born starts with a 2, you're Gen Z.
Yeah, but I don't use the word like skibbity or anything. Like,
No, that's
not in my
Gen
trail.
Alpha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's different. You're not a child. There's something in between us.
Okay, got you.
And if, believe it or not, there's something even older than me. But yeah, no,
Okay,
like there was a whole group of people that like we hadn't hired or like hadn't even interacted with that I was like, oh my God, this is great. Like,
Off the record, how old are you? Like, if you don't let me ask
I'm
you.
30, I'll be 37.
God, that's not like.
I was born in the 80s, so.
Oh, whatever.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah. If anything, I am an elder millennial. No, I'm like actually like the quintessential.
She's calling us a child at this.
Well, no, because like there is a difference.
Yeah,
Like lots of our
100%.
coaches are like we're either like mid 30s,
Yeah.
but then like we have another like section of like coaches that are between 25 and 30. And so like there's a slight difference, like for sure. And so like just difference in like
We're just cooler.
yeah, you guys have to tell me what's cool, but like it's just different. It's slightly different. So you have to like kind of tailor your communication and like
100%.
like things will shift and change like in the industry. So like we have to decide like that's something else you have to decide whether or not you're growing up with your customer or whether or not you're going to stay with that demographic. So like if you stay with that demographic, you have to hire different people. You have to market differently. Like those are different things you have to take into consideration. So I was kind of looking at those types of things as we were like coming out of the pandemic. I'm like, okay, what does this landscape look like?
How do you make decisions? Do you have like a framework that you work through or things that like a checklist, a mental checklist that you go through?
And to add on to that, are you like how calculated are you with your decisions?
That you're gonna make me sound dumb. Like I go like so sometimes I like you guys are familiar with Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I like feel like Yoda. Like I look at everything and I'm like, okay, I sense things. Like I'm like, okay, I feel like this way. But here's the thing about me is that, and my team knows this, I won't make a decision without them being on board. So like if I'm making a big financial decision or if I want to bring somebody on, I also trust other people to hire people for like the studio. Like I hire other people to do that.
Yeah.
Because I trust them and help me build the framework. Like I'm very, very collaborative. And so if I'm pitching an idea or I want to go in a certain direction, like I have a sense of what things are like. Where I do really bad is if someone's like, what was your EBITDA like last year? I have to like go back and look or like exact things. So like I'm not calculated that way. However, as we've grown and as we've like grown as a team, I have joined something called like EOA, which is Entrepreneurs Organization Accelerator Program. And Entrepreneurs Organization is really cool. Plug them. It's a group like a peer-led group that you join that like help you can talk to other business owners and like you have like a little forum and you can talk about stuff. So the last 3 years I've been doing that and it's been very helpful. And they work off of EOS, which is Entrepreneurs Organization Operating System. So that helps you like build like a framework of how to do strategy, like cash, people, like all those types of things. So that way you have like we create like SOPs here. Am I the person that creates them? No, but like I've hired and worked with people to help me build those things so that way everyone's kind of operating under the same, whether it be from the classes to like the sweat exchange to like what we're doing. And even we're always trying to iterate that in marketing. Marketing's always the hardest one, but just different standard operating practices so that way like things are like easy to come, like anyone can kind of come into those roles and do that.
It seems very strategic.
Yeah, I like strategy. I do.
Yeah.
I like strategy, but it sounds more complicated. You're like by asking if I have a framework,
Yeah,
makes it
okay,
sound
fair,
more
fair,
complicated than it is. I think like there's other frameworks out there that you can like pull from, and that's what I mean. So that at least everyone's kind of speaking the same language, and it's not just me being like, I think we should do this.
Yeah.
And like shout out to my coach Zaf who works here. She's like I call her my architect because she's kind of the exact opposite to me. Like she's very deliberate and focused and can create structure. Like she's very disciplined, whereas I'm like I like broad concepts. Like if you ask me, like if we could ponder whether or not the universe is like how big the universe is, like I like that type of conversation. I like puzzles without answers.
Sure.
Most people are not like that. So
Would you classify yourself as a visionary?
yeah, I think so, for sure. Yeah, I did a little test and it was like, you're a visionary. But it's funny because I think whatever you end up landing on, you have like, most people are like, oh man, like I hate being that.
Yeah.
Like I'm like a visionary. That usually means like you're disorganized and you're like an inventor and like, which is kind of true. Like I have time blindness. I know this about myself, and anyone who's hung out with me knows that I will probably be operating like 10 to 15 minutes late and I have to like trick myself to be on time. Like there's just different people. Like you have different like positives and negatives, and like some people who are highly organized like might be like, oh man, I wish I was like more creative or whatever. But like there's just difference. It doesn't mean that you don't have that strength. It just doesn't come to you as easily.
Naturally.
Like, you know what I mean? Like there's just some things that come to people naturally. And like I think the hardest part in whatever we're doing is having confidence in ourselves. So yeah.
What would you say your leadership philosophy is?
Mine, I have like a high trust like philosophy. I think that if you have the right people, if you don't trust, if there's not trust, like that is where things like break down. Some people will naturally not trust. And so like, it's just, you have to have that like right fit of people, and it just takes time. And I think like the biggest mistake I think a lot of owners and people who own businesses is that if you part ways with somebody, like that's hard. It's so hard. It's like a breakup. But I think even you can apply this even to your like anything, like any relationship, romantic, friendship, whatever. Like if you like, the breakups are hard, but they also like will help open up spaces for like other people to come in that are the right fit eventually. And so like you can't just, some people are lucky enough to get that on the first shot, but that doesn't always happen. And some advice that's given to me is like, not everyone's meant to stay on the train. And so like some people are meant to be on there for a time period, hop off. And that's also true for like life. And I think we have this idea that we're doing something bad if we like lose people or like things don't work out. But it's just like, if you think about it in a beautiful way, you're kind of almost setting them up too, right? Like they're kind of open to have other experiences and other opportunities. So.
How do you have difficult conversations?
Practice.
Do you remember the first one that you had?
Yeah.
How was it?
Bad.
How bad?
Can you share?
Really bad.
Can you share? You don't have to. You don't want to.
I don't want to share.
Okay, fair.
I share everything, so I was like, I will opt out. I will just say I wasn't prepared for it, like, and knowing what I know now, I would definitely approach things differently. There's no easy way to let somebody go, especially somebody you care about, and that will stay with me forever, for sure. And like, I think, yeah, you like. That's why people say like kind of full circle, like to not work with friends, but like those friends like the people you end up working with become your friends if you are doing what we're doing, right? Like it's just natural. And like I think a lot of it, what we do now is we do a lot of role play. So if we're about to have usually it'll be me embodying the person. Like I'll be like, okay, I'll act like them, and you ask me, and we'll like practice it before we go and have a hard conversation. Because like, it's like, I would even argue like that the more, everyone has to have hard conversations. Like we all have stuff that we're scared to say or scared to do. And it's not just in business, but also in life. Like, whether you have to have a hard conversation with your parents or like a hard conversation with your partner, or whether you have to, whoever it may be, like you're gonna have a hard conversation. And it's so easy today to like self-soothe and like not, and like procrastinate, but then you're in this loop. And so like you have to kind of recognize like, okay, I'm not having this hard conversation. And my fatal flaw, and I think it's for a lot of us, is that we avoid having that hard conversation. And then it gets down to like that time where we're like, and so now we've made it so much worse. And so like, because we've procrastinated it. So I think it's just having the awareness to know that you have to have not even a hard conversation, to just say something that like, because we're fear of rejection or it'll go wrong. Like it's the same principles that apply to like people you're working with is like, if I don't have this hard, what if they have this hard conversation and they get mad at me and then they quit? Like, crap, like, what am I going to do? But if you don't have that conversation, you're also doing a disservice to like the business. So
would you say business or the service that you provide for your customers is a direct reflection of how well you're doing? And what I mean by that is we had Regan Tran on the podcast, and he mentioned that if he was going through something internally and he would show up to work, the people would feel it.
Yeah.
The team would feel it, and ultimately the service that you provide would also feel it. So at what point do you have to realize, like, okay, if I'm not feeling good, maybe it's not the best day for me to go into the work?
Or do you just show up because you have to?
Yeah, I think I have so what's interesting is like, and I'm sure some other people, like other coaches here I know actually other coaches here would like also say the same. Like I've had like the worst days of my life, and then I've had to come like teach a Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC class or like dress up as Pitbull. Like, and I'm like, I'm a clown. Like I like, but I'm like, and one example is like, yeah, I was making a really hard decision in my personal life, and like I was with my mom. I had to have my mom because I was like, I don't know what to do, but I had to go teach this Backstreet Boys and NSYNC class on like a Sunday afternoon, and I was like in here like sobbing, and then I just like put on the music, and I was like, here we go. Like you just like put on like, and you're just brought like, because of what the nature of what we're doing in teaching, and not to plug being a fitness coach because it is awesome. Like it really truly is. You're in a flow state. My coach Zeph, who I mentioned before, she talks a lot about flow states, and like when you're teaching, you end up being in a flow state. So you're doing something that you have to be completely present in doing, and you're not thinking about all the decisions you have to make. You're present in this moment. And so to me, like doing something like that actually is very helpful when you're going through something hard. And so me teaching and coaching in this space, it's not like going into a work and sitting at a computer or like having to have meetings with employees or like potential clients or whatever you may be doing. It's completely different because like the service that we're providing is so present and so specific, and you are just fully embodied in it. And so it helps you through what it is that you're going through. And so to me, I've been very fortunate that like this place, not only as like for customers, I know has like helped save their lives, but like for me as well, like as a person going through my own stuff. So yeah, I think if you're sitting down at a desk and like coming in and having to interact with people, yeah, for sure difficult. And I think that's where like I try to create that environment where people do feel comfortable like speaking up and saying what's on their mind. It doesn't always go well. Like there's hard conversations all the time where it might not be the right fit or whatever. But I think like for me, I know the people that I'm closest to here we say what's on our minds, and if we can't say it right away, there's enough space and time that eventually that they will talk. And so that way once you're able to say some things, like you're able to move through some things. So I think that space here has been helpful. But me personally, coming in and teaching, yeah, for sure has helped me like move through my own stuff. So
you guys have done some really cool stuff. Not just here in these four walls, but outside of these four walls. You mentioned the forks, but like the top of the parking lot, and just like having a day to grind, the run clubs where we came across you guys. Can you talk about those kind of experiences and what it's like to see that many people that show up?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly was not like that at the beginning. Like, I think that like, I don't know, I love TikTok. You get so much good stuff off TikTok, but it's also highly addictive. But like one of these things that you have to climb Cringe Mountain, like you really do. Like you have, like we started doing pop-ups with like 4 people, and I'd be like, with like an old speaker, I named him Bruce. And so I'd like call Bruce everywhere, and it'd just be me and these speakers, and like there'd be other spin studios in the city that have like these beautiful facilities, and I'd be like, all right, everybody, like, you know, and there'd be 4 people that show up, and you're like, I know in my heart that like I could sell it in an arena. Like I knew it. I was like, eventually we're gonna have a huge class, and it's like a tall order. And I think for me, like the biggest moment was we did this one event called Friday Night Lights, and it was when I was an ambassador. We did it with Steve. And what's interesting about being an ambassador is that like it's a very individualistic thing, and to me, I was like, I want to bring my team with me. Like I want to bring everyone with me. So instead of it just being my workout, like I wanted to have like the community. I wanted to have like the other coaches that taught like our camp classes and our connect classes up on the stage. And so we had this big stage at the CN like field, and it was like a beautiful day in October. And I ended up hiring people that did lights and sound and stuff. So like at that point we had done all of our own sound and stuff. So I like felt like Taylor Swift. Like I was like, I have somebody like a sound guy. I have like light guys, and like all Lululemon was there, and everyone got a Lululemon mat, and it was like beautiful. And like we had like a photographer and a videographer, and like Lululemon ended up using those photos on like their internal systems, like to promote, like, so it was a very cool. I went home after that event and I'm like, whoa, because I think we had like over 150 people like at this like event in Winnipeg, which is a paid event, because like those are two different things, right? Like there's free events and there's paid events, and like we have to be somewhat selective, because like I love to give this all away for free, and like, but our time I was like oh my god. So like you just hope that it like pays off, because sometimes like as long as people are coming back to the gym or like investing back into it, then you kind of have to like sit down and be like, okay, is this working? So
how much of a delusional optimist do you have to be for business to work at?
I feel like it's funny that people say like delusion. I feel like it's just like optimist. You just have to be at your core like an optimistic person. Like everything has a shadow side, like, so you really have to like, being a hyper optimist, sometimes I have blind spots when it comes to like people. Like I'm like, like they'll make it, like they're great. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like sometimes you have to be like, no, like, so I think that that's something that I struggle with, but I think that overall, like being an optimistic person, it helps you like push ahead. And so to me, I think the one thing I learned, and when it comes to it all, it's like timing. Like sometimes the timing just has to be right. And like, I think had I opened this place after COVID, it would have been different. And had I been in business way longer before COVID, it would have been different. And something COVID did for this industry and this space is it opened the black box. And so no one really talks about this. And I want to be like the person that talks about this about fitness, is that before it was like you guys didn't know what SoulCycle was probably before the pandemic, right? No. Right, or Peloton. But Peloton like opened the black box. So like what happened in these doors was like secret, like what was going on, like what were they teaching, what were they doing. Okay. You'd actually have to physically go to the place, pay money, go to the class, and you have to do that repeatedly to learn like choreography or like what they're doing or like how to do it. It's like a really big cost. But now everything's on the internet, and what's going on in these rooms is everywhere. So like anyone can figure it out. So it's a lot less guarded, so that like kind of open source of fitness has like reshaped the whole industry. Cool. So it's super interesting, and it's like you just have to kind of be like specific with what it is that you want to promote and how you want to promote it and what you want to do. So I think that that's like really what we're always trying to like figure out.
What do you mean by like in the room? Do you mean like
here in the room? So like what, like say for example, like if like for a spin class, now they're recorded. So like now you can go
so
do it at
see
home.
What they're doing.
Yeah, before you couldn't do that. They weren't really recorded.
Got you.
And so like Peloton actually had a very different model. Like you would have to have their specific bike and go to a certain RPM and like do certain things. But now they have like a whole range of classes that you can take. And so they're not just one singular thing. And like also with TikTok and content, like people are filming inside classes, and like they like encourage that, like bring your phones out, filming, like you have someone like walking through. And so like to me that takes away from the class as a customer. Like I don't want someone's like camera in my face, like but now I'm like, but do people care? Like I don't know, like so you have to be intentional with what it is that you want to do and how you want to showcase like what's happening here and like market it. So yeah.
How has like the trends in the industry either influenced you to be successful or cause conflict? And what I mean by that, like things like Pilates now, right? Massive thing against like the Gen Z community, I guess you can say. Or you look at like run clubs, those are like everyone's in them. Yeah. So what about those trends that go on due to the social media? Like,
well, I think we've set ourselves up, like, again, it comes down to timing. Like when we first opened, everyone that I worked with previously in other studios, like in Calgary and things like that, were like, don't open like a studio with more than one concept. Like that's like a recipe for disaster. Like never seen one do well. And it's true. You've never seen like a multi, like, and big, like international multi, like it's either Soul Cycle or like Berries or like Rumble or like certain thing. Like it's one specific thing because it's clear marketing, it's clear messaging. This is what we do. Right. And I was like, that's not what I want. Like I want to be able to offer like a range of different classes and do it successfully. And so to me, like had I not had that, like had I just had Spin during the pandemic, like we wouldn't have been able to like reach as many people as we did because we could do boot camp online, we could do like shadow boxing online. Like you didn't necessarily need to have equipment to be able to participate in our classes. So that was kind of like a benefit to it. And also like after, like I also just think like different generations have different mindsets for things. So I think that is like the way things cycle is just so quick now. It's not like, oh, for 5 to 10 years, Spin is going to be really big. And now for 5 to 10 years, Pilates is going to be really big. Like it's going to be like now the way if you like take in media, you're going to find that niche thing for you. So if you're into Spin, like that's all you're going to be served. And so like that's going to be what you do. And if you're into Pilates, like that's what you're going to be served online and like what you're going to be influenced by and like that type of like workout. And then if you're into boxing, like that's what you're going to be served. So like it's less like Pilates and run clubs are really big, but I anticipate that like right now it's like everything all at once, like everything all together all at once. So what might seem really big to us, like is it though? Like because everything's kind of happening right now. So I think staying true to like, for me, to kind of circle back to your original question, like I've always participated and done stuff here that I liked, like as a person. Like I was like, oh, I love our Connect class. Like I did a class like that in New York and I was like, let's try to create something like this, but better and like unique to what we do and what are elements that we want to make sure. Like I love boxing, so I was like, how can we integrate that and make that its own program? I love Spin, how we work on our Spin program. That's like specific to what we do. And we have a couple other programmings coming down the pipe that like I really love to do that I want to like create and like, well, I say I, but we will create to like bring to life here. So
I think that resonates well because I go back to this quite often, but like when Steve Jobs created the iPhone and he was like, we're going to do this. Like people don't know what they actually want until you put it in front of them and then they decide, do I like it, do I not? And you deciding on like, hey, I like this and we're going to go with this and then people resonating with it and building the community around it is really cool and really like smart. Like, kudos to you.
Thank you.
I saw on your Instagram story a while ago of you sitting in your car and talking about the experience of having this place and how grateful you were of this. What does it feel like to own a gym?
I wouldn't say what it feels like to own a gym. I think I feel gratitude to like that this experience happened. Like I feel grateful. Like I get to have like, again, like that aligns with my values, that I get creative freedom to do what I want to do here, that I get the opportunity like to be able to like support myself doing this and support other people and therefore like change their lives and then also like change our customers' lives and do something that I like love as a product. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not something that I'm not attached to. Like I love this as a product. So it's like all of the things. And then like to really put the icing on the cake, it's like to also create it from nothing and also in the middle in a place that shouldn't work. So like it should be a thing that doesn't work and in a place that doesn't work and it does. And so to me, I get like a little bit nervous when I feel that way because it's like, okay, if like I feel too excited about it, like what if it goes away and I like fuck it up and like it like I make a mistake and this house of cards falls. I like really come back to this place that I'm just glad it happened. Like no one will take away the success that the last like 3 years have been, or like making it through COVID, or even getting it up off the ground. Like no one will take away that success that in like mark in history of like what this was. I always make the joke that I'm going to be the ghost that haunts the basement of this place. So like it's here, it's happened, and I think that like to me that makes me feel like really, really really grateful, not just like for what I'm experiencing now, but what I have experienced. So
if you were to go back and redo it, would you change anything?
would I do it is a question. It's very tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, I have regrets in my personal life for sure, but like you can't really, because like, I think of it this way, like if you meet, like I met someone recently and I was like, I wish I met you earlier in my life. But I don't, because we would have been two different people, right? Like, so it's that sort of thing. Like, I don't wish for anything different because I wouldn't be who I was today. It wouldn't be where we're going right now. And things wouldn't have happened the way that they happened, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think we were, like, as much as I wish COVID didn't happen, I can't believe, like, 2021 Amie would be, like, kicking me right now, but, like, don't say that. But it was, like, a pause in, like, life and industry to, like, be able to be like, okay, this is going to be severed and it's going to be completely rebuilt afterwards. And it's not, like, what you wanted, but it's, like, it's what happened, and I don't think we could have done what we've done without that. Who's to say that would have happened without that pause?
Yeah.
So, or multiple pauses.
2 questions for you. How much did you sacrifice for this to become a reality? And how much were you willing to sacrifice?
Everything and everything. Like hundreds of thousands of dollars. My time, my savings, my life, like my marriage, like everything. Like all of it. And would I do that the same way? Yeah. Because like you can't, I had never really put both my feet into something, like ever. Like I was always like scared to like fully go into one thing. Like I had a bunch of different jobs. I wanted to try a bunch of different things. Like I said, that's who I was from high school. And so when it came down to this, I was like, okay, I have to put all my eggs into this basket. And like, that's a scary thing to do, especially for someone who doesn't like do that. And so, yeah, you just put it all on the line and you hope for the best. But that's the thing, you have to be like, okay to lose it all. Like,
if God forbid, but if community goes tomorrow, would you be okay with that?
well, I mean, I'd have to be. You just wouldn't have a choice.
But you've done it before, so you could figure it out.
Well, Olivia and I always joke that if it all goes in the, I work with Olivia closely. We always make the joke that we'll just get fake tits and go strippers in Vegas. Although we're starting to age out of that, so I was like, so do some more skin treatments in order to keep my face looking young and youthful. But we always like make a joke that we'll just. Sorry, that was our inside joke. But yeah, like we like it, but not that. But you could always reinvent yourself, and you hear that from founders all the time. I hope not.
Yeah.
Like I love this. Like I think that's what's so heartbreaking. And even when like things don't work out with certain like people who've worked here in the past, I'm like, man, I love this place so much. I feel so sad for you. You know what I mean? I love it here so much, and my heart breaks every time like people have to part ways, and it's just a heartbreaking thing because it is a really special place. But like I said, it's like the fact that it's happened, like that's the beauty of it. And so no one can take that away.
You said something briefly at the very beginning when we started of like, I don't remember the exact context, but you were like, good luck. If somebody else wants to try this, good luck.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on competition and people wanting to do it?
I think it's tough because your ego gets involved and you're like, and so like for the first little bit, of course, like opening like the studio the first few years, you're like, like your guard is up and your ego is like that. But now I kind of like, we're all trying, if people are in the fitness space, like we're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to make people healthier and have better lives. So like to me, we partnered with our biggest competition this year, like, and did a giant spin class, like 100% spin class. It's never been done before. I don't even know if it's done in Canada, like maybe, like, but I think that it's very few and far between. And like, you really don't get that opportunity unless you partner with your competition. And so to me, like if there's kind of like this quote, I'm going to butcher it again, but like if you and your competition are both doing really, really well, there's like harmony in that, right? Like there's, if you're just I think capitalism wants us all to be in a monopoly, but when there's healthy competition, like that's good. Like that's a good thing. You want to be pushing each other and making the product better for people. I'm not saying like undercutting the price, but like just making the best possible product for the people. And like, so to me, I'm always like, if they're like, I started to change my mindset a few years back where I'm like, if they're not performing well, like that's a sign that we could not perform well. So like, you have to be kind of cheering each other on that way. So
there's a I don't know the name, but some guy, very successful businessman, wrote 12 letters to his son and put it in a book. And one of the first letters is like, "Dear son, my best competitor died today, and it's the saddest day of my life because I don't have anyone to chase now."
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Like, I mean, like, and I think at a certain point, like, we're so different. So I think right now we really are really just kind of creating now at this point. Like, we're our own kind of category doing our own thing. And I think that that's kind of the next iteration is that, like, I have a vision that I want to, like, with this, what we want to do is we want to take the place, create our own industry in a sense that, like, we want to be not Good Life or Altea, but we don't also want to be like the Winter Club where it's an exclusive group, but like an actual like club you could be part of that you feel connected with. It's approachable and friendly and affordable for you. So like we want to continue to offer that and do that for people.
It's a community.
It is.
Amie, if you were to talk to your 12-year-old self, that timid, scared young girl, to know the woman that you are today, what would you say to yourself?
So you're cool.
That is true.
You're
you
cool.
are cool. You are very cool.
Yeah.
I would say, I'm gonna be like very sincere without being emotional. I would say, honestly, yeah, that like, I always think when people ask me questions like this, it's also what I would say like now, which is like, you've got this, like, you've got this, you don't need to worry. Like, I felt like I spent a lot of my life worrying, and I think most of us do. And I always think back to that, and I, again, kind of coming back to like COVID times, I would be like, oh, what am I gonna say to myself 10 years down the road from now? It's like, it all works out. It does, it all works out, it really does. It like, there's gonna be hard times in life. Like, I'm gonna say that, and then hard times gonna happen, and I'm gonna be kicking myself. But like, it's like, there's hard times in life, like things stress you out.
Yeah.
And like, but it's part of it, and it's gonna make you who you are, and like, you're good.
There's a beautiful analogy that the heart monitor when you're in the hospital, laying on the hospital bed, there's ups and downs for a reason. And if it was flat, you'd be dead.
Yeah.
So
It'd be very boring.
it'd be very boring.
Sometimes you think life is going way too well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say we're there yet. I feel like sometimes I'm like the foot's always on the gas.
Yes.
Oh my God. But yeah.
But you gotta look up and enjoy the view.
Yeah, I know it's hard though. It's definitely difficult. So like, I think that's something like we all kind of struggle with, and yeah, it's just kind of taking those pauses where you can, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, anything that we haven't talked about that you wish we would have asked you?
Oh, it's so funny. Whenever I get interviewed, I never get interviewed about like the things that like people would think like gym owners or like stuff like that, like macros and.
I mean, we could talk about your running experience because you've killed it. Like, did you run Boston?
No, I ran the Chicago.
Oh,
Marathon.
Chicago, yeah.
I 3 years
You're
ago.
fast.
Well, I mean, it's so funny because in my head I'm not fast, but like people who I think are fast are like, why am I fast?
Yeah.
Like, so I got inspired by my brother. So my brother and I hadn't talked for a couple years, so that's like intense. But him and I started reconnecting, and he's like, oh yeah, I ran a half marathon in 1 hour and 26 minutes, and I was like, what? So I was like, if you genetically can do that, maybe I can. So he gave me his run plan, and it was like this whole like French thing because he lives in Montreal, and I had to like read this French manual of like what to do. And I like
He
trained.
runs in French.
Yeah, he runs without music too, on a track. And I was like, are you insane?
Yeah, fair.
But I was like, he's like a savant. Yeah.
Keep going. Sorry.
But he's a really fantastic runner anyway. He really inspired me, and I ended up running, like trying to run faster. So I was like, how do I actually put a plan in place and run? So
What'd you end up with?
that first year I ran my first, like that marathon in 1:45. Yeah. Thanks.
Impressive.
Yeah, so it's not 1:26. It's no 1:26, but I was
Still
pretty fast for what I was like trying to
2:15.
accomplish. What?
2:15.
Yeah, there you go. But like, I think that's like what we diminish. I think, so I say this almost every morning. I think it's crazy that people come here at 6 a.m. It's bananas, especially when it's like cold out. I was like, I'm an evening worker outer. Like that's like before all of this. That's when my preferred time of working out was. Sure. And I always had mad respect for people that come at 6 a.m. So I always tell them, I'm like, you guys are pussy. Because they get up at like 5 and then they have to work all day. Like we don't actually have to, like, we teach and then we go home and we're like, okay.
Sleep.
Yeah. So I was like, so I feel like I'm always like so impressed by people that do that. And I think it really does set you up for like feeling proud of yourself. And I want to set everyone up in their day feeling proud about themselves, because I think we need more of that, like, and less of like being marketed to and like what we lack. And I think if people come in this space, I want them to feel fulfilled when they come here. So making them feel proud and like building people's confidence is like part of what I like to do, more than just like physically like change.
Were you always athletic?
No. I feel, what did I do? In high school, I kind of did everything like towards the end. And like when I was in university, I didn't really work out or do anything. I was just going to university and snowboarding. And that's how I kind of ended up into this, is that I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I had more free time after university. I had a full-time job. And I was like, well, what am I going to do in the evenings and weekends? And I was like, maybe I'll try triathlon. And so I tried triathlon. And at that point, I ran my first half marathon.
Cool.
And I ran that one probably in 2 hours and 10 minutes. And then, like 10, 15 years later is when I kind of picked it up again and tried it again. But I was kind of like searching for what I wanted to do afterwards, because I wasn't really, like, I was never the best person on my team ever. Like, I literally was just there for enthusiasm. And it just eventually ended up building my way to this. So,
Any advice out there to the listeners who want to improve their health, who want to chase their dreams?
Just go for it. Like, what do you got to lose? Like, are you really, like, I don't know. I guess that's my optimism. Like, I think that, like, if all things go wrong, at least you could say that you tried, right? Like, if you are you sitting on this, like, book or this thing? Also ask yourself why you want to be an influencer. I feel like that's something that a lot of people are taking into consideration. Like, why you want to do that? Like, is it because you want like free stuff? Is it because you want to start a business? Like, whatever it is, like, what do you really want to do? And maybe less focusing on that and more like what it is that you want to provide for people. Not to like hate on influencing, because like low key I am also trying to like tell my story online. It's hard. It's a tough thing. So mad props to the influencers out there. It's hard business, but I think like really figuring out like what you want to do is like first step. So like trying things. Like I think like just having the courage to try stuff, like join a basketball team, like later on in life. Like I did that this year and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, you know, trying different things, trying different jobs, trying different like roles, routines, things, like just putting yourself out there, I think is kind of the step one to like figuring it out. And I think, I just also think people who have talent, that are sitting on talent, that I'm always like, that's because I feel slightly less talented and I have to like really work hard. Everyone has to work hard, but I feel like I really have to like pull it out of me. Like it's not just something that easily comes. So when I see somebody who's like putting in hours of work in the past on something, I'm like, go do it. I like, please, like if you really want to do that, that's in your heart, like go do it. Or like find like a way of like starting it small. Like I think that's also the big deterrent, is that people want to see it perfectly on day one. And it's like, no. Like start really small, like start by like just like if you want to, I don't know, play in a band, like you don't know guitar, like take a guitar lesson. That's like so low stakes, so low stakes. You want to open a bar, take a bartending course, or like call up somebody who owns a bar. Like just those small little steps that like slowly incrementally get you there. Because in 2014 is when I really wanted to open a studio. Like I really wanted to open a spin studio. It didn't take me like 5 years to like really have the courage to do it. So
how fast do you work now when you have an idea? Would you say speed plays a role?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think you have to like go for it. Like if you see an opportunity, like just take it. Like I think that's really important. And also it's just part of my character. Like, and you'll end up interacting with different people and finding different people that like have that character trait, and then working with other people that don't, and like recognizing that like, okay, this is important to me, and explaining like I need to have the speed to make decisions and go for it. So like, yeah, working with people that can respect that, but then also respecting other people who need to like go back and iterate a little bit more.
What was that quote that you said? Sing your song? Or what was
Don't die with your song still in you. Yeah.
We'll end it on that note.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Amie, for
Thanks,
letting us
guys.
in and
Yeah.
letting us into your space. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.